We're live. Hey guys, just decided on the spur of the moment to see if a live stream would be something worth my time to do, and something that's worth doing on a regular basis. I just got finished watching my good friend David the Good. He had a live stream tonight about how not to kill your garden, and it was actually very informative. And he streamed for about an hour and 20 minutes tonight. Wow. But I just thought I'd go live and just see if this is going to be something worth doing. Pardon me. So, yeah, we have hit 60,000 subscribers. 60,000 subscribers. I can hardly believe it. I was just getting excited about a month and a half ago when I hit 30,000, because all of last year I had just gardened and made videos, and I hovered around 25,000 gardeners subscribing to my channel. So it's been real humbling. Hey guys, folks starting to file in. Appreciate you guys joining us. Hey T-Bo to Harbin, Joade, Eric, Grateful Grandma Patty, Vera. Hey Vera, how you doing? Barbara. Yeah, thanks. From Florida. I was in Florida, Barbara, down in Seminole County. And yeah, hey Jason, how you doing? David's wrapping up. He started wrapping up, and I thought, if I'm gonna go live, I need to do it. I hate to cut out on David, but I had to. Thank you for the congratulations, Joade and Vera. Yeah, I was in Florida. When was that? I went to Florida earlier this year, and we were in Seminole County. I was visiting my daughter in school. She was going down to Reformation Bible College there, and we pulled up to our Airbnb into a carport that was loaded down and covered in passion fruits. And the owner of the house came out to greet us, and I was looking at his passion fruit, and one of them broke off in my hand. I'm like, oh, what do I do now? And yeah, it all went well, but yeah, it was a beautiful garden down there. So yeah, hey Joe, I was just over there watching David. Hey Greta, thank you, appreciate that. Dave, thank you. Yeah, I was over on David the Good stream. I usually try to catch it at the time he comes on these days at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when I'm transitioning from my daily work to some of my garden video work, and I usually try to catch David at that time. It actually works out real well for me. Hey John, let's see. Colorado. Yeah, I was on Kay's live stream earlier. Kay Cottrell, you guys, Kay Cottrell is a gardener out in California. She was an actor, as she says. And Kay has a good gardening channel that I've often watched just to be relaxed. She's very relaxing. But Kay has moved from her house and left her garden behind, and she's struggling with having to garden in containers now and live out of an apartment. And she's got a pepper plant she needs some help with. So, yeah, I'm doing a little collaboration with Kay, and that should be coming up in the next couple of days. She's got a pepper plant she's trying to revitalize. So I like Kay. Go check Kay out. Yeah, Jan, I hope to be at 100K at no time. I don't think I'm going to make 100K in this year. So the way YouTube goes is in the spring, I have a real tall spike of watches because everybody wants to garden and everybody wants to learn how to plant tomatoes and prune their peppers. And those kinds of videos really get me a whole lot of views. So I have a really tall spike in March, April, and May. But come June, though, that's when it starts to drop off again. And so for gardening channels, typically we make our big increases in subscribers and watches. We make them in the spring. In the summertime here, I don't have a lot to show you, unfortunately, because in the summertime, I'm staying indoors. And the gardening that's going on outside, it's so hot out there, it's hard to go out and make videos. And if you've watched my channel anytime in the summer, you see me, I'm huffing, I'm puffing, I'm covered in sweat. And summer gardening is a real deal here. I can do it, and I will show you, but it's really tough. But by that time, all the people are in their spring gardens up in northern zones. Thank you so much, Mary H. I appreciate that. Thank you for the Bravo sticker. I'm so happy. But yeah, so then fall, I garden in the fall, and last year I did pretty well in the fall and increased the channel slowly and gradually. And you guys, I got to be honest, that's my goal. I would, like I said in my last live stream, I would garden anyway, but I'm gardening also to influence my income. and it's been really good. This is my best month ever. So far, I just can't believe how good things are going. It won't always be this way. Like I said, that curve is going to drop down on my stats. Summer and fall are going to be low. But I really appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel, all the comments, the questions. And I'm having trouble keeping up with all the comments and questions. So if I miss yours, just post it again. So let me see here. Hey, Charlotte from Oklahoma. Good to see you. Christy, your very first year trying a garden. You know what? I've had so many people tell me that this is their first year to garden, and I kind of figured that would be the case with the corona, the viral thing out there. But yeah, now's a good time to start a garden, especially if you're north of me and you still have time to do a spring garden. But even if you don't have time to do a spring garden, you can do a summer garden. All right, let's see. Thank you, John. Mina, hey, yeah, I went from 50,000 to 60,000 in like a week and a half. It's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. YouTube is really pushing my pepper pruning video, which, like I told you last time, I'm totally ripping off. In fact, I'm editing that video tonight, and I'm going to rip off that video and make a better version of it. So, hey, Sharon from Kansas. Awesome, thank you. Ren from Northern Ontario. Wow, that's like way up there. You know what? I follow Prairie Plant Girl, and she's in Saskatchewan. I know that's not close to Ontario, but I learned so much from her, even though she's in a radically different zone from me. I just watched one of her videos today on composting, and she composted a sock, and it disappeared in her hot compost pile. It was so burning and so good, and she maintained that compost pile so well that sock disappeared. Yeah, last Monday, Thibaut. I think that was it. Yeah, it was last Monday. That's right. So it's, wow, been just a week. Hey, Karen. Hey, Leslie, Lake Lady, Alan Turpin. I'm barely getting my tomatoes planted tomorrow, Mina. Hey, better late than never. Appalachian Fishing Club. No, I've never eaten a pawpaw, but I see people eat pawpaws, and I watch a metal detector guy on YouTube. He's kind of like, I used to do metal detecting as a hobby, but I don't live in a place that has like an ancient history. So I watch him to live vicariously. Aqua Chigger, and he has pawpaws growing in places where he goes around, and I saw him eat one right off the tree, and I thought, man, I need a pawpaw, but I've heard that you can't. They don't store well. They don't ship well. So unless you have one, you don't know what they taste like. Lake Lady, you got snow. No, the snow rest the north gets, we get from the summer heat. Yeah. People in the north take a break in the winter. We can take a break in the summer. I'm not taking a break in the summer anymore. I found good summer crops. I just did a video on summer crops, actually. Good. I'm glad, Thibaut Harvin, your peppers are looking good. Container advice. You know, I got a pepper that has come back. I got several peppers that have come back from last year in containers, and I'm working on kind of replenishing and refreshing them right now. So they'll act as perennials if you want them. Hey, Arkansas woodcutter, message retracted. I don't know what that's about, but I'm glad you're here. Did I get the blue jade planted? No, I haven't yet, Bill. I'm going to plant that blue jade this evening. I'll go out there when it's a little bit cooler and plant that corn. Alina, hey, I'm glad you jumped over. Thank you. Hey, Jason. Yeah, taking off like crazy. I'm trying to pull you along, man. I'm trying to go over there and recommend you all the time because you do some cool stuff, Jason. Eric Seagroves, do I recommend any kind of gardening books, like when to plant certain fruits? Yes, I have a lot of gardening books I recommend. I have a video on some of my favorite gardening books that's not very popular because apparently people don't like to read these days. But to determine when I want to plant, I look at my local extension office. They publish a chart that gives planting times, and I rely heavily on that chart, and I try to push it a little early. So yeah, look at your local extension office. As for books, Steve Solomon's Gardening When It Counts is invaluable to me. Yeah, I have to think about the rest of the books. David the Goods books. Go buy David the Goods books. Compost Everything is a good book. He really teaches me about composting and really breaks the rules that we're all bound to. Like, oh, you shouldn't compost dairy products. You shouldn't compost meat. Why not? I mean, those things break down and they're organic stuff full of nitrogen and minerals and stuff. So put that in your compost pile. So, yeah. I recommend his books. Thank you, John, for the thumbs up and reminder. Appreciate that. Robert Moore, yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Tom, got potatoes planted from my video. Thank you. You know, brother, I harvested my potatoes, my red Lesotho potatoes, the determinants that I planted, and I was really disappointed with the harvest quantity. And I think that's just a regional thing. I have some indeterminate tomatoes, some russet potatoes that are planted, and I've hilled them up, and I'm hoping for a better harvest from those. But I did at least triple my potatoes from my seed potatoes in terms of their volume. So, you know, you live and learn. You got to try. Any recommendations of what to plant now from seed for the summertime? Arkansas woodcutter. Yeah, I'm planting okra. I'm planting some corn. Okra from seed will do fine right now. Wow, what else? I'm going to plant some more eggplant. I'm going to plant some from seed right now is hard because, you know, if you plant from seed, you've got a longer time than if you bought transplants or if you planted seeds a month ago. So really what I'm going to do is push along those things that are growing now in my garden and that will make it through the summer. And I'm going to add eggplant. I'm going to add okra. I'm going to add cowpeas. If you don't grow cowpeas in the summer and you live in a hot climate where it's humid, or well, any kind of hot climate, cowpeas, man, you got to try some cowpeas. Those are prolific. They improve your soil and they provide a, you know, a ground cover, really a good heat loving crop. So yeah, cowpeas are good. So that's what I would do. Let's see here. Just topped off your cukes and squash today. They look better than before. Thanks for the good advice. Thanks, Bren. Yeah, I got some cucumbers. My Armenian cucumbers have powdery mildew, and I'm trying to stay on top of that because I really want those to go, and I really want them to stick around for a while. How long does it take to grow okra if you started this last week? Elaine Jones. Okra will go all through the summer, and you'll have to cut it down and make the decision to pull it out unless you just get a hard freeze. I don't know how long. Different okra varieties are different. I just put seeds in the other day. I'm expecting them to start producing fruit in about a month and a half. They do actually produce pretty early. So, yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, D to the G is demand. Yeah, Jason Avers. Guys, I love David the Good. You got to go check out his channel. If you don't follow David, go check him out. Dan Permaculture Food Forest. Yes, good evening to you, too. Your first year to garden also, Joade. Thank you. Appreciate that. Pruned your... Keeps jumping on me here. Dragon tongue beans. Yeah, they, you know, dragon tongues, I kind of like them. I harvested. I'm letting the dragon tongues that I have in my garden right now go to seed or go to dry out and become potted plants. I might change that decision if I need that area. But hey, guys, you know, if you've watched my videos, you've seen I had a glorious, magnificent, giant kale plant left over from my fall garden. I had two of them, harvested one, left the other one in, and have been slowly using portions of it. But I finally took that plant out today. I chopped the whole thing out. It took a saw to get that thing out. And I chopped it down and I stripped it and bagged it up and sent it over to my neighbor, one of our friends who loves kales. That was like $100 worth of kale, man. That was a nice plant. But yeah, that plant's no longer there, and it frees up space for my tomatillos to go in. So that kale plant was so top heavy, it kept getting knocked over by the wind both ways. Hair Southern Touch in Georgia. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Started your tomatoes. That's good stuff. Thank you, Ron. Rats on the 60. Pigeon peas. I've heard of pigeon peas, Dan, but I've never grown them. Do you have a video on pigeon peas? That would be interesting to see. Let's see. Milk. Ron says milk for powdery mildew. You know, I used milk on powdery mildew a couple of weeks ago on my squash, on my zucchini plants. And it helped. It helped knock it back a bit, but the zucchini plants are about to give in. And the other day, I was out in the garden and I saw this beautiful red flash go by, and I thought, oh no. And I followed that little red flash and watched it alight on my squash plants, and it was a squash vine borer moth. They are very stunning, beautiful creatures, but they're so deadly. So I know the vine borers are here. So that's going to be another problem. I think I'll probably take my zucchini out and put some more peppers in for the summer. Let's see. Joshua Smith, lots of containers and 2 3x6 raised beds. Leon gardening wicking containers. You wish you would have used them. Yeah, I've never used a wicking container. I've used some containers that have what do you call it? The reservoir at the bottom. I've used those in the past, but I've never used a wicking container. So maybe that's something I should consider because man, I got to go stand out there in the garden and water my garden every summer day, and it gets hot. You can plant some runners on the south side of your corn patch and let them climb up the corn. Miss the window for winter squash. Arkansas woodcutter. Yeah, my son and I tried to do a Three Sisters garden a couple years ago, and it didn't work. The corn came up, but it didn't have enough sun where we put it. The squash came up and then died, and the beans wouldn't come up at all. So that was just a fail for us. But yeah, it's a good system. The grub hoe video, David. Yeah, hey man, the grub hoe. That's a wonderful tool. I have a grub hoe head right here. This is my first grub hoe, and it's just a heavy cast iron hoe, and you of course put it. You know, it sits on the shaft about that angle. Let's see if I can do this. About that angle. And so you get a real nice, you can dig holes with this. It'll replace a shovel. It'll replace your hoe. Not for all applications, but yeah, this is one of the best gardening tools that I have ever bought. And easydigging.com, I don't get paid to say that, but that's where I get them from. And the guy at Easy Digging, I forgot his name. I reviewed his product for him, and he's a real good guy. I purchased one and got a bum handle that was busted, and he sent me another one real quick. So yeah, you got to get a grub hoe if you're busting up new ground, and they're a great tool. So yeah, I'm glad you appreciated that. That's actually a very low view video, David. No one ever watches the grub hoe video, but I'm glad you did because it's one of the best tools. Let's see here. Hey, from Georgia, Josh. How you doing, Josh Dillard? Appreciate it. David the Good. David the Good is in my live stream. Awesome. I'm glad to see you, David. Yeah, I was watching your stream, and I thought I got to cut out of here in just a minute if I'm going to do this 60K celebration. Because I mean, I got work to do. So I'm glad to see you, Alan Turpin. Hey man, it's like the whole group just moved on over. Who is David the Good, Arkansas woodcutter? He's just some guy, just some guy, Becoming a Texian. Always fun to make your own handles as well. I'd like to do that. I think I'm crafty. I just don't have the tools and the space to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'd like to do that. Lily D, yeah, it was hot. It's hot today. It's really hot. My pumpkin plants are weeping. It's look like all the leaves look like umbrellas that are closed up. But I'm happy to say I got my very first Kogigu pumpkin. I've got several of them coming in, and they've been pollinated. So if the borers will just go to my zucchini in the backyard, then my Kogigu pumpkins and pumpkin pits will maybe give me a pumpkin. I don't know. We'll see. I got a birthday party for my little son coming, and my oldest son runs a business where he does these big inflatable water slides and things like that. And there's a giant water slide sitting just to my left over here. And the water hose has to run through my pumpkin patch. So I don't know if I'm going to get pumpkins this year or not. We'll see. Let's see here. Pigeon peas can be frequently pruned for mulch. I've heard that. Root nodules release nitrogen. Yeah, that sounds really awesome. I just don't, I don't know. I don't know about pigeon peas. I got to figure this out. Pigeon peas I hear so much about. Ambry, hey, how you doing? Thank you for the congratulations. Appreciate that. Peanuts, peppers, Southern Louisiana. I bet it's hot there today. You know what? We had a storm come through here the other day, this weekend, and on the radar, if you looked at the radar, it had that rotation, and the eye of the storm was just over the north part of Houston. And I tell you what, man, that starts getting us people in the coastal areas a little bit. We start to itch a little, hurricanes. It looks like a hurricane. So yeah, that was not a fun storm, but I saw a lot of that Ambry heading over Louisiana. I hope you guys didn't get tons and tons of rain. Have I sprayed plants with orange oil for insects. No, Bren, I haven't used orange oil. Um, I haven't used any kind of oil like that for my plants yet. I've only used neem oil, BT, and that's pretty much it. If things get bad enough with bugs and stuff, then yes, I'll look into that kind of stuff. Yeah, David, zucchini trap crop. It's got powdery mildew. It's covered in powdery mildew. I'm just going to let it run its course. I may take it out this week to make room for other things if I need it, but I'd really like them to stick around and draw those borers in. How to garden. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Arkansas woodcutter, you just had a... Yeah, your message was hidden for a reason. I don't know. Maybe it's that word roan. Lerone aircraft. Anyway, I'm getting into nerdy territory here. Dorothy's hobby farm. Hey, how you doing, Dorothy? Let's see here. Karen. Hey, Karen, how you doing? Good to see you here. Ginger, thank you from Florida. I appreciate that. Sheba, thank you. I have a better hat. No, my hat's just not as old as yours, David. My hat is about to fall apart, though. And my wife made me throw away another hat that I had. She said it had sweat stains all around it and it didn't look becoming. So, yeah, I had to throw that one out. So, yeah, it's just a cheap hat. So, yeah, thank you, Hot Limited. I am the man. No, I'm not the man. I'm not the man. I worked for the man for a while, but I'm not the man. 4 inches of rain from storms off the coast of North Carolina. Man, Eric, that's rough. We got 3 inches the other day, and it was good for my garden because free water. 3 inches of rain, and then we're gonna have like a week and a half of no rain. So, yeah, I'll take what I can get. Chunky Monkey from Texas. What part of Texas are you in? Congratulations from North Florida. Man, I got people all over the place. Thank y'all so much. Yeah, I've been really watching the stats fly this week, and I don't know what to attribute it to. I haven't even been posting videos on the most regular basis that I normally do during this time of the year. It's been a busy week for me, so I'm so grateful for you guys subscribing. What I'm really grateful for also is the community and seeing so many familiar names in the chats like this. I've only done, this is my second live chat. My friend David there, he does live streams like every day, and that's where a lot of the community was built, that of gardeners that know each other on YouTube, and we've come to know each other. And a lot of you guys are here tonight. I appreciate that. But this is my second stream, and I just kind of did it without warning and just popped up, and I'm so grateful that you've all chosen to spend time with me. Hey man, Benny from Norway, how you doing? Sumera, I don't know how to say that, but you're from Rosenberg. My grandmother grew up in my grandmother's farm was in Rosenberg, and I spent many a summer in Rosenberg. Actually, just outside of Rosenberg, heading down 59, take a ride on Daly Road, and there we were. And yeah, I spent a lot of time out there watching my uncles and cousins farm. I love that area. Too bad we don't have that land in our family anymore. Sugarland, Texas. Hey, Joe, how you doing? John Doe from Sugarland. Yeah, I worked in Sugarland. I worked at Big Blue over there on Highway 6 in Sugarland, Schlumberger. Yeah, Schlumberger was one of, David was just talking about this tonight, how, you grow up in the American dream. And in America, you're taught to do good in school, go to college, get a high-value degree, work for a company for all your life, and retire with a big pension. I didn't take that course, but I did for a season work for a big company, a big corporation, had a 401k. That company was filled with, it was an oil field services company, second largest one in the world. And yeah, I worked there for 10 years. And you know what? From the time I worked there to the time I got laid off, I saw the company go from a very powerful, respected company to a company run by nincompoops and incompetent management. And just last year, I got laid off in 2009, but I continued to contract for them and freelance for them for another 10 years. And in 2009, that was when I left. But from that time until today, I watched this company become one of the major companies in the world to having to from losing 1/3 of their value just a few months ago. 1/3 of their value, and they're laying people off left and right. So yeah, that's not necessarily a great thing. That's one of the reasons I started a YouTube channel, was to help have multiple streams of income. YouTube, it's not, you're not going to make a living off of YouTube, but it certainly does help. Slime mold in your raised bed, Lily D. No, just let it go, man. It's a mold. It's not going to hurt anything. It's natural. Deep South. Hey, Deep South. What? Let me get back to your question here. Deep South, man. You're like a month ahead of me in gardening. What does your daily impression number look like these days? I don't know. I haven't been tracking my impressions. I've been tracking my subscriptions these days. And I know that's not the right metric to track, but that's the one that kind of makes me happy. That's the one a lot of people look at. I don't know what my impressions number look like. I'll take a look at it, and I'll send you a message if I find anything interesting. Thank you, Nora Mae Gomez. Yes, I'm so glad. Hey, you're getting some rain down there. What are the best grapes to grow in Deep South Texas? Okay, so you can grow, there are certain cultivars of traditional northern grapes that grow well in our region. I don't know about Deep South Texas. That's a little bit different zone, a little bit different conditions down there. You've got the valley down there where they grow all kinds of vegetables and citrus. But right here, we've got a lot of wineries around the Houston area that grow traditional grapes. But you have to make sure you get the right cultivars. I have muscadine grapes in my little backyard there, and muscadine grapes can also be used to make jams and wines, and some of them are good for table eating. Check out Ison's Vineyard, Ison's Nursery, and Greg Ison has a YouTube channel, and he will show you how to care and select grapes, muscadine grapes. If you're into muscadine grapes, they can be really prolific. I'm going to get a gigantic harvest of muscadines this year, and we're going to make lots of jam and juice from them. I was going to make some wine. It's just the wine stuff. I'm so out of space already. I don't have room to put a bunch of winemaking equipment in my house. So we're just going to can some jam and jellies. So yeah, hot limited, that's what I would look into. If I was starting fresh with grapes, I would do muscadines. They're good perennial to have. They keep you in fruit every year. Hey, Christine from California, moving to Texas. When should I sow pole beans in the garden for a summer crop? Probably now or last month. My pole beans are up and they're starting to put on blossoms now. I think it's going to get a bit hot for pole beans. But if you can't do pole beans, always look to cowpeas in our area. Horton, Texas. Luana, how you doing, Luana? Lily D from San Antonio. That's my favorite city in all the world. Yeah, David, the mold breaks down good organic matter and feeds the soil. Yes, I always am joyful when I see mold or mildew or fungus in my garden, mushrooms growing up, because I know that there's good stuff happening down there. Yeah, I remember the Alamo. That's where Pee Wee Herman's bike is, in the basement, right? Let's see here. If you go to the Alamo these days, they've kind of made it into a sad kind of. When I was a kid, we'd go to the Alamo. You could just walk in, walk around, and it was just a place you could go. It was a public space. Now it's an attraction. It's kind of sad. Right across the street is Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, and the whole thing just feels like a big theme park. But if you're in San Antonio and you're at the Alamo, get some ice cream at the little corner shop there, and then go to the Menger Hotel. The Menger Hotel is an old historic hotel there, and they have a lot of museum type displays there of Teddy Roosevelt, and it's really fascinating, actually. And they've got a nice restaurant there. If you got some extra money on you, go eat there. So yeah, go check out the Menger. Thank you, Michelle P. Thank you for the congratulations. Oh, Karen, thank you. You just sent me $9.99. I appreciate that. I'm going to put that to BT money to kill off my vine borers. Thank you so much, Karen. You're so generous. Let's see. Let me scroll back up. Yeah, muscadines for the deeper south, David. I did a lot of research into fruits and muscadines. I see them growing wild around here, so I just bought some better cultivars. It takes 3 years to get the vines up from bare root, train them down the wire, prune them properly, and in 3 years you'll have good fruit. And as gardeners, we should be thinking long term like that. We shouldn't be thinking, what am I going to plant and 90 days from now I'm going to eat? We should be thinking a little more long term as gardeners. What am I going to plant now that in the future is going to give me a return? and plan out seasons and times and think a little more long term. All right, man. Take care, Tebow to Harvin. Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you, John, for the reminder for the thumbs up, folks. Jeffrey, do I grow pomegranates? No, I don't grow pomegranates. I hardly have room to grow what I grow. I'm about to try to find a place to put in some citrus trees. I've got citrus trees in a pot, and I've got some varieties that I really like, and I'm looking for places around my property to plug them in. But this year I'm growing those in pots. I'm also growing some elderberries this year that will produce for us every year. We like elderberries and use them medicinally. So let's see, Vera, congratulations. Thank you. You got to check on your new chickens. Wow, you just got chickens yesterday. Vera, you're in for it, man. My son bought 30 chickens earlier this year, and he's growing those chickens up. They're about full grown now. They're about to start laying. 30 chickens. He's lost 3 of them. He bought 6 more. Then when you buy chickens, you end up going crazy, apparently. Then he bought 2 guard geese, Donald Trump and Ivanka, and they're a mated pair. And Ivanka lays eggs for my son. So 30 chickens and 2 geese. Then he bought 6 ducks, 2 turkeys, and 6 more chickens. And then he bought a half dozen rabbits. Then he bought 12 quail. And so my son is down there growing all the animals I want to grow, and he's going crazy. So I don't know what else he's going to be doing, but he's got so many eggs from his quail, he doesn't know what to do with them. He's about to have so much meat from his rabbits, and I'm just real proud of him. So yeah, that's my Black Gumbo Southern Gardening South. All right, David. Appreciate you stopping by. Have a nice hike down the mountain. And no, I'm not going to beat you by year end. Your book's going to come out, and you're going to get all kinds of stuff, all kinds of subscribers. But yeah, you also need to spend some of that money we've been sending you guys for building that internet tower on your mountain. One of these days, there's going to be a tower on your mountain, I hope. Can I make a video on canning tomatoes, Letitia? I don't can anything yet so much as I pickle stuff. I ferment and pickle, and that's how I save my harvest. I don't have the varieties of tomatoes this year that I would like to can. The tomatoes I'm growing this year are all slicing tomatoes and drying tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. I selected my tomato varieties before I knew about all this coronavirus stuff. So yeah, if I was to do it over, if this was this time, if this was springtime this year, right now I'd be selecting different varieties, and I'd definitely be growing Roma tomatoes. This is the first year I haven't grown Roma tomatoes, and I was really regretting that last night when we had pizza night at the house. So Romas are a good one. I think I cut the wrong leaf pruning your peppers. Oh, I lost your question. Let me get back up here. Hair John touch. Give me your prayers, beginner. You know what? Peppers are very forgiving. I think you'd probably be surprised if your pepper blossoms out and does well for you. If not, then yeah, buy a new pepper. Pearl is cool in San Antonio too. Yeah, that's really cool. My wife, my son's wife, is from that area, and when we were out there, always going to see them before they got married, we'd always go hang out at the Pearl Brewery there in San Antonio. That was kind of cool. Yeah, becoming our Green Love. Yeah, I was very touched. David was part of the chat tonight. Living in the Hill Country from Clifton. Man, I love the Hill Country. We go to the Hill Country every year. We go hang out in Wimberley for a week, and that's always fun. Right there on Cypress Creek, do a little fishing, go hang out in the cold water. It's nice. Babette from Southern California, thank you. Chunky Monkey. Yeah, the Minger is supposed to be haunted. Yeah, it makes it more fun to go to, right? Travis, thank you from East Tennessee. Appreciate that. Great bunch at the Minger on Sunday, huh? Man, maybe I'll have to drive out there and figure it out. Jason, the elderberries are coming up fine. My bare root elderberry plant that I put in the ground looks really healthy. It's thriving. My other plant I have not yet put in the ground, but it's thriving in a pot. I'll plug it in one of these days. Eggplants, pruning eggplants, Green Love, when like you would prune peppers. I guess you could. They're all nightshades, right? So you'd think they'd do fine. But I've got a variety this year that really took off and branched out a lot, and it's got a lot of blossoms on it, more than I'm used to with eggplants. So I'm happy with them. I'm not going to mess with them. I'm going to let them go. So thank you, Libby Lauderdale. How you doing? Thank you for the congratulations. Yeah, Chunky Monkey. Chickens are fun. They have personality. My son's geese have personality. Man, I made my son's goose really mad the other day. I was getting to know him, and he's a real aggressive goose. He's one of these Chinese geese, really loud, really aggressive. But I kind of want his confidence, and he likes to be scratched on his little breast feathers there. And but then I blew it. I picked him up, and he didn't like being picked up. He wouldn't have nothing to do with me for another. Caleb, my son says he won't have anything to do with me for like 3 or 4 visits. So yeah, that's chicken math, Babette. Right? You buy 30 chickens, you end up with 70. Yeah, goats, Jason. I've heard people are like that with goats too. I've never grew up with any animals like that, so I don't know. But I've seen plenty of you guys with your homesteading YouTube channels. Getting a half dozen chickens so you can have a quaint backyard egg laying production thing going. And next thing you know, you've got 40 acres with 1 million hens out there. So yeah, I've taken the warning. Animal math is real. Gabriel, hey, greetings from Montreal. Thank you. Yeah, it's cooler, but you can use the suggestions. Yeah, I learned from guys all over the place, from the frozen north all the way down to the tropics. Amy McFarland, good to see you here. Nora May Gomez, I don't know, like the big metal shelves found in Home Depot, like to raise up my garden. You mean? I'm not sure what you're asking, but yeah, since I'm on limited space, ways to increase my gardening space. There's one way I've been resisting doing, but I'm probably going to have to do it. Is thin down my walkways between my garden beds and add another brick width. So that's something I've been considering. Stonewall near Fredericksburg, becoming a Texan. Yeah, man, that's some nice property out there. Fredericksburg is really nice. If you look, people have this perception of Texas. If you've never been to Texas, people have a certain perception, and they think that it's all, cowboys and horses and oil wells. At least when I was a kid, that's what people thought. And then when you come to Texas, you realize, wow, it's kind of just plain and not all that. It's not all that different than where I just came from. We've got East Texas with the piney woods and the big thicket forests where you can still get lost today. If you go out there, you can get lost and die. It's that dense. It really is. That's where my family on my dad's side kind of comes from. That whole East Texas vibe is big in my dad's side of the family. Then there's the coastal plains and prairie. That's where I live. And there's not a lot of forest until you get about to I-10. You go north of I-10, you get back into the forests. Piney woods up in the mid-east Texas, and then there's the hill country of Texas, which is a really nice area. It's real arid and hilly, but not mountainy. There are hardly any mountains in Texas. So you get way out west into, and even those mountains are small. You're just kind of clipping the Rocky Mountains out there. And then the Panhandle is just bleak grass as far as you can see all the way to Canada. It's my perception of it. South Texas, you've got nice valley and real tropical kind of growth there. But where I live, it's just like everywhere else I've ever been, except it's hotter. So yeah, Texas is an interesting place. If you want to move to Texas, you got to really do your homework, because where I live in Texas is radically different than if you lived in Austin or San Antonio or El Paso or Dallas. It's just a radical difference, really big time climate differences. So yeah, and enough about Texas. You swear, Jason Avers, when it comes time for it, you're just going to borrow some goats for brush cleaning. You know what? That's a good idea. I've often thought it would be good to borrow some ducks to just get rid of slugs and stuff. But I'm afraid they're going to eat all my plants too. Thank you, Jeffrey, for the congratulations. Do anything special for my peppers through the summer? I try to keep my peppers kind of in a shady place in the summer. Most of my peppers are in pots. The ones in the garden, I don't do anything special. They just go crazy through the summer and they love the heat. But the ones in pots can get a little dehydrated because the heat dehydrates that pot. So I put them more close to my house on my patio, and I try to shade them with my fig trees. It's kind of rude to my fig trees because they need to be shaded too, but in that shade, they do pretty good. So, Antoinette, thank you for all your garden help. My channel is informative. I hope so. I'm so grateful it is. Doc Bear. Hey, Doc Bear, you found the live stream this time. Thank you for the congratulations. Okay. Kay, I was just talking about you. I was open to this live stream today talking about you and your peppers. I'm glad to see you here. Thank you, Kay. I hope the video clip I sent you works well, and I hope we can do some more things like that soon. My pepper plants have benefited from some of those methods, and I think yours will too. Y'all, go check out Kay's channel. Like I told you earlier, she's kind of in transition right now and trying to kind of find some sweet spots in the audience. And I really think you should go check out Kay's channel. And if you're into gardening, yeah, Kay knows her stuff. Luana, you married a cowboy, and a real one, not a drugstore cowboy. You know what, Luana? I see people walk around. I live in obviously in Texas, and there's the guys that walk around in cowboy hats and drive jacked up pickup trucks, and they've never ridden a horse. And then there's the guys like my cousins and uncles out in Rosenberg who are like the one you married, and you can tell the difference. So yeah. Widowmaker too, thank you. Amherst, Ohio, west of Cleveland, Ohio. I've never been to Ohio. I've been to almost all the states, but not Ohio. I need to get to Ohio one of these days. So, John Haffenbecker. Scott suggested my show earlier. Which Scott? Gardner Scott? I like Gardner Scott. I tuned in his YouTube channel today and caught his live stream this morning. So, hey, you made my sauerkraut, little monkeys. Good. That's good stuff. Well, I love it. My family hates it. If I bust out the sauerkraut and crack that jar open, my family goes running. They hate the smell of it, but I love it. Yeah. Yeah, John. K is a sweet spot. I don't know if we should say that, but yeah. Angelique McNiff, you topped your peppers like I did. Good. You know what? I'm doing that. Like I said, I'm doing that pepper topping video. I'm editing part of it tonight, and you don't always have to top a pepper. You really top a pepper just if you want to cause a tall, lanky stem, single stem pepper to branch out. It will eventually branch out on you, but if you want to kind of force that early on and get a stout bush going, you can top the pepper plant. And I'm going to be a little more clear about that on my next video that's going to totally rip off my previous video. So Oceanbound, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you find something useful here, and I'm so grateful. Yeah, it's so humbling that you guys consider it worth tipping, so I appreciate that. Hey, Jive Turkey, what a name. Can't stay, but congrats. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I got you interested in gardening this year. That's what Kay was talking about earlier. She was talking about on her live stream. If she is able to influence somebody to take up gardening or to enjoy gardening, I think it was Kay. Maybe it wasn't Kay. I think it was Kay. Man, I watched so many live streams lately. Anyway, if you're influenced in taking up gardening, that's all. You know what? One of them I watched was Jess, at Roots and Refuge. I think everybody knows Jess. She was talking about if you can influence somebody into gardening, then you've made a difference. And what they're going to do is they're going to take what they learned from watching all this YouTube gardener people, and they're going to go do their YouTube gardening and influence people. And it's just like this ripple effect. So, yeah, it's so nice. Yes, it was UK. I thought so. But see, if you follow Jess at Roots and Refuge, she was talking about the same thing today as well, or recently. And Gardner Scott was talking about the same thing today as well. So your mom asked, am I a round or flat earther? I'm a round earther. Yeah, I'm getting a good showing tonight. Thank you, How to Garden. Appreciate it. What pepper tips apply to all pepper types, or only say jalapenos, not so much bells? Doc Bear. You know what? Peppers, you can apply, the basic pepper gardening advice that people give you to almost every pepper. But I found that the larger peppers, like bell peppers and poblano peppers, and things like that do a whole lot better if you don't prune them, actually. Because if you prune a bell pepper, the fruits tend to be a little bit smaller. You'll get more of them. But I find that if you put the larger peppers in the ground and not in pots, they do a whole lot better. And that's just my experience. I don't have any scientific fact to prove that. That's just how I've witnessed my own pepper plants growing. If you got a smaller pepper, jalapeno size or lower, they do great in pots, prolific, especially like cayenne peppers. Man, tons of cayenne last year. Let's see here. What's going on here? Alan, are octagon earthers a thing yet? Yeah, maybe they are. Maybe you should do some live streams at this time of day, Kay. You know, I just decided, Kay, at the last second to kind of get on. I was watching my friend David the Good, and when he was done, I thought, well, I'll just go live because I hit 60K this year. But you never know. I mean, the audience, there's a new tool in YouTube Analytics that tells you when your audience is watching your videos, what time they're on. So that's a useful tool, I think. Let's see. More people getting on. I can't keep up. Hey, from England. Hey, Joanne. How you doing? Yeah, you guys are getting almost to be about warm over there, huh? Oceanbound would love a live stream, Kay. Kay's live streams are very relaxing. Your mom says, what do you do when you find slugs? I put out slug bait. What's this stuff called? It's a granulated slug bait, and if you hadn't asked me, I would have remembered the chemical that's in it. It's a natural occurring chemical. In fact, my dog busted into the slug bait and ate some of it. Didn't hurt her at all. So, yeah, slug bait knocks the numbers back. Let's see. She found my channel not long ago. Love the advice. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. It's been... your green beans in the ground are doing well, but the ones in your container are very light green, fertilized and everything. Luana, yeah, light green means usually nitrogen deficiency. And the best way I've found to get nitrogen into your plants quickly is with fish emulsion. Now, it does smell bad. It stinks. And fish emulsion is good. Blood meal is another good choice, but blood meal takes a little longer. Fish emulsion is water soluble. So, yeah, get in there. Is that what it's called, K Sluggo? I think that's what it's called. Yeah, John, go mod that other show. Appreciate you stopping by. John, you're like everybody's moderator, aren't you? Jessica, you just started a container garden a couple of months ago. You need to go follow Kay Cottrell's channel, Late Bloomer Show, because she's doing container gardening right now. And your plants seem to be doing great. Appreciate the help. Thanks so much. I container garden as a extension of my garden, and some of my container garden videos are actually pretty popular because a lot of people just want to know, how do I plant a squash plant? How do I plant eggplant? And I'm a little heavy-handed on the fertilizers in those because what I want people to do is, not rob their plants and get them off to a good start. And I've had good success with the methods, and I hope you have too, so that's good. Hey, somebody just mentioned figs. Do I have yours in buckets and containers? Yeah, I do. Becoming Texan, most of my figs, I've got 35 fig trees in buckets or containers. 2 of them in the ground. 1 of them is coming down this week because it is a cursed fig tree and produces no fruit for 6 years. So my biggest producer is the common Celeste variety, and it's in the ground. It's right over there. You can't see it, but it's there. And it produces tons and tons of fruit. But yeah, I grow most of my figs. My fig goal, as I've said before, I want to find the 5 best fig varieties that I can grow here that taste the best. And once I find those 5 varieties, I'm going to sell off my other fig plants and as cuttings or as trees. And I'm going to plant the 5 best ones I have in the ground. So, yeah, moist newspaper helps the slugs. It seems like, Chunky Monkey, it seems like moist newspaper would actually attract slugs. I have deep mulch in my garden, and that attracts slugs. And so I have to deal with the slugs every year. They're not a big deal, really. I mean, if you just spread some of that slug bait around, it'll take care of a lot of them. Also, you could do with slugs, you could do beer, get some cheap beer and put it in little containers around the garden, and they'll come to that and drown themselves. So let's see here. Kellogg's organic dirt was great advice. Oceanbound, yeah, I love Kellogg's. I like Kellogg's because I've watched their YouTube channel. I've seen how they make their soils, and I appreciate them. So it's always worked for me, and it's the cheapest stuff. So yeah, Luann, I don't know what's up. Make sure you got some holes in the bottom of the containers, and they're getting. Don't overwater a pepper. Peppers don't like a whole lot of water. Peppers like to actually kind of dry out before you water them again. They're an arid region plant. So what supports do I use for their height? Tampa Evan. I use usually just a stake, a bamboo pole, and I'll tie the main stalk up. If it's a bushy plant that I've pruned and it's bushed out, then I usually don't use anything. The ones in my garden, though, when they get really big, I'll put a tomato cage on them, and that'll keep them. Because if you have a big pepper plant and you got lots of peppers, they're gonna snap under the weight. We had a tropical storm a few years ago that snapped down a bunch of my pepper branches, and that was that was rough. Sorry. Karen, can I just graft onto that fig rather than pulling it out? You know, Karen, I talked about that fig with David one evening, and he was of the opinion that it's not getting enough sun. So if I graft onto it, I don't think it will produce. I think the light over there is trouble for me. But what I am going to do, Karen, is I'm going to air layer a bunch of the branches off and pop them up, and I'll be able to sell those if they fruit. I'm not going to sell them if they don't fruit, but I'll pot up about a dozen of those in air layering. And that's another video, right? And show people how to air layer a fig. So yeah, it attracts them, and then you throw them away. Oh, I see what you're saying, Chunky Monkey. Yeah. Put some wet newspaper out, and they'll come, and then you can fold them up and throw them out. Yep. So let's see here. Air layer, you got a video on that too, Kay. I know you're one of the ones that inspired me to try all kinds of gardening stuff that I normally wouldn't do. So it's a good plan, I hope, Karen. We'll see if it works out. You have containers, Jessica, because you live in an apartment, but there is a small community gardening spot, and you finally snagged a bed yesterday. Awesome. Man, that's so awesome. We have in my neighborhood so much wasted space. We've got green spaces, you know. To be honest, most of our green spaces are flood control efforts, right? So you've got a kind of a natural low stream that goes through the area. They don't build on it. They just use it as parklands. But man, you could grow so many gardens out there, and I'm kind of interested in some stealth gardening, some guerrilla gardening. There's a guy on YouTube. Don't go look at it if you can't handle guys with really foul mouths. But he's a fellow up in the north, and his channel name is Crime Pays but Botany Doesn't, and he has a video on guerrilla gardening, and he goes and he plants fruit trees and food producing trees all around his area in San Francisco. And he's originally from the New York area, so he's got a real thick accent, and he's hilarious. I wouldn't agree with him on virtually anything in the social realm. We're like polar opposites, but I really appreciate his efforts going out there and guerrilla gardening out there and planting stuff just around. And yeah, brilliant thing. So I'm thinking of putting some. Hey, Angelique, I'll get to you in just a second on that pumpkin hole because yeah, it's going. But I got green space out there, and I could go out and plant all kinds of stuff out there, and nobody would be the wiser. And I could just go out there and pluck some food every now and then. We got a guy down the street who grows his pot somewhere out there in the green space, and I see him go every day on his four-wheeler down the street, around the corner, out into the green space, and I think that's what he's doing. So, Angelique, my pumpkin pits, my pumpkin holes, they're going great right now. I've got 2 of them in the backyard, and I've got yellow squash coming on. I have 2 of them in the front yard on the side of my house where I can really push the zone. And they're putting on my very first Kogigu pumpkins. That's a Cucurbita moschata. It's rooting along the path of the vine so that when the vine borer comes and gets a part of it, there'll be roots in another section of the vine, and they'll be able to support the plant. If they don't get torn up by my kid's birthday party coming up in a couple of days, then I hope to have some actual success with my pumpkins this year. So that's really, it's really a joy to me to see those putting on pumpkins. So let's see. Ron Finley, is that the guy? I'm thinking of a different guy, I think, but yeah, there's a lot of those guys out there. This the guy I'm thinking about is in San Francisco because he's always going down to the edge of the bay where the railroad yards are, and he's walking around there. LSU Tiger. Yeah, I've got a Tiger Stripe LSU fig. Jeffrey, I actually don't like it. I'm going to give it 3 years to produce good fruit. Yeah, you can't watch it with kids in the room, Jason. He's got a foul mouth. He needs to bite down on a bar of Irish Spring or something. That's what my parents used to do to me. Yeah, he does. That's awesome. He has a ruler tattooed on his finger so that he can measure things in the field. And I think that's brilliant. That's one of the things that's brilliant. How many pumpkins can you really expect per plant? One or two, really, is what I understand. If you're really intensive and you've got a garden region, a gardening climate that supports pumpkins, there are varieties that will give you more. One or two or three is all I really expect. I've got two or three of them on each plant right now. So, okay, Ron doesn't have a channel. Yeah, Crime Pays, but Botany doesn't is the channel name. Y'all, if you go over there, just remember what I said. Don't watch it when you got kids around. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Hey, Natasha. Any opinions on micro drip irrigation for a container? No, I don't have any opinions on that because I've never done it. I've always stood around like a goon, watering my plants with the water hose. I'm looking into. Tonight I learned about standpipe irrigation from David, and I've been thinking about that for a long time. It involves watering from above, which isn't ideal for me in this humid environment, unless I do it early in the morning and it gives time to dry out. But yeah, as soon as I started watering from above, my plants started getting powdery mildew. So yeah, it's rough on the plants. Hey there, Austin. Glad to have you. Appreciate it. What do you use for my grape trellis? I would love to grow grapes. Um, Mary Laz, I have a video. If you search muscadines on my channel, you'll find my videos on my micro vineyard. I put in 4x4 posts um, and drilled a hole through them, ran I think it was a 16 gauge wire through them. And I used some hardware that's designed to really hold those wires in place. And that's all I use for my grapevine trellis. And I worked over the next course of 2 to 3 years to bring the vine all the way up to the wire, and then to pinch the growth bud to put out two growing branches, and then those branches I train down the wire, and I keep them. You're supposed to grow them about 10 feet on either side, but I keep mine at 6 feet, no, 8 feet. Is it 8 feet? I don't remember. I keep them shorter than the canonical grapevine growing length because it's a micro vineyard, and they've done fine for me. Yeah, they grow into each other. They can't keep their hands to themselves, and it's really intensive. You have to come through in the fall when they're dormant and do a serious amount of pruning, but you just have to do it once a year. So yeah, I have videos on that. I don't really remember since it's been a while. Hey, I see my wife and she's giving me a kiss. Awesome. My wife is here. Say hello to Angie. Yeah, so the single seed challenge, Green Love, man, my single seed challenge has been so frustrating in the latter part of its life. I'm waiting on a fruit so I can taste the fruit and I can show you the fruit. Then that thing's coming out because that single seed challenge is suffering from something right now and I can't quite figure it out. All my micro tomatoes and my dwarf varieties have given up the ghost. There's some of them still putting on fruit, ripening some fruit for me, but they're just a quicker life cycle and they're done. The heat's too much. My in-ground tomatoes are fine except for one of them, which I featured in a video. I don't know what's going on with it. I'm trying to ripen up the fruits on it, and I'm pulling it out too. My single seed challenge, though, has been heavily pruned to be very healthy, but some of the branches on it are browning and wilting, and I can't figure out what it is. And part of it is it's a purple tomato plant, so it's hard to see if I've got any kind of conditions that you would easily see on a green tomato plant. So I don't know if I've got blight, if I've got wilt, if I've got bacteria or viruses, or if I'm not watering consistently. I did arrest the blossom end rot, but the plant itself isn't looking that great. It's going to give me fruit. It's putting on fruit. Got one ripening up now, and if I can just taste that one, I will consider the challenge a success. It is the darkest tomato I've ever seen, though. It's a black tomato. It's so black it looks like an eggplant. It's incredible. I can't believe it. Yes, my wife is happy and excited for the work. She sees all the work I do on this. And she has to endure me going out in the evenings into my little studio, which is my garage right here, and editing video when I could be sitting in the house. So yeah, it's there's some work that goes into a YouTube channel. Kay, you said you spent what 8 hours sometimes on editing a video? Yeah, I understand that. So hypocentric, hey, thank you, appreciate it. Jessica Simmons, you just watched my update on the single seed challenge from a couple of weeks ago. You were wondering. Yeah, I was out there looking at it today, and I'll do an update this week on my single seed challenge. I think it's getting to be close to time. I need to catch it before I go out there and all of a sudden it just died. So I'll do that. Let me scroll up and see what else we got going on here. Any questions? Yeah. You know, guys, it's been a really nice time this spring for my channel. I appreciate you guys watching. I've really enjoyed I've making videos for you guys, and especially all the feedback back and forth in the comment section. Some of you folks need to go to church because your comments get held back and I have to delete you. But most of you guys aren't here tonight. But for the most part, the comments are awesome, and we have a really nice community going on here. So let's see. A few questions before I drop off tonight. What's the best eating grape to plant? I don't know. Deborah Snott, are you talking about muscadines or regular grapes? Because I don't know the regular grapes. As for muscadine grapes, the Southern Home variety is supposed to be one of the best eating grapes because it is a hybridization of a muscadine and a Concord grape. And somehow they managed to do that. And I've got one growing up one of my trees in the backyard that's not being cultivated right, but I hope to try the grape. So Southern Home is supposed to be a good one. Yeah, thank you, Sandra from Savannah. I appreciate that. Brett, any advice for someone who is thinking about starting their own YouTube gardening channel? Yes, lots of advice. Brett, if you're connected to me on Instagram, send me a private message, or on Facebook, send me a private message, and I'll send you my top 10 tips on beginning a YouTube channel that I put together for my brother-in-law. I also would strongly recommend you just do it. Don't worry about how bad your videos are in the beginning. You can always revise and redo. Just get out there and do it. And don't be afraid of talking to a little green light on your laptop, or don't be afraid of talking to your iPhone. Just get out there and put out good content. Edit severely. Only give people the information they want, they've come to your channel to get. People don't need to see you digging a hole in the garden to plant a tree in for 15 minutes before you put the tree in it. Give people 3 seconds of digging a hole, and then put the tree in. People get the idea. So yeah, and I can also recommend to you a guy named Brian G. Johnson. Go check out Brian G. Johnson's YouTube channel. He is kind of a mentor for YouTube content creators, and he'll teach you how to write good descriptions, good titles, good descriptions are very important. Tags aren't as important as they used to be. He'll teach you how to do good thumbnails and how to time things. He's just a good mentor. You don't have to do everything he says. If you do everything he says, your channel's going to look just like his. And I don't like the look of this channel, but he's good for helping us out. So go check out Brian G. Johnson. But if you'll contact me at on my Facebook page or my Instagram direct message, I'll get you some advice. Yeah, if you're going to spam my channel, you're gone. Goodbye. I like pineapples just fine, but I don't like it that much. Thank you, Natasha. Appreciate that. Guys, I'm going to drop off here and go hang out with my family for a while and edit Pepper videos. So I really do appreciate you guys stopping by tonight on a spur of the moment, especially you who were just... let me delete this dude first. Yeah, you're out of here. Yeah, just as a spur of the moment, you just stopped by, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. I'm so humbled. 60,000 subscribers. I never thought about that. My goal for the whole year was 50, and I didn't know if I would make it. So I'm really glad to see that. So thanks a lot for joining me tonight, guys. I'm going to go eat. God bless you, and happy gardening, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.